equation of fitness has now changed in my mind. So for that
Mhm.
matter, that should be the goal. Today, I no longer focus on weight. The focus is on health. So the
Mhm.
moment we shift our focus from weight to health, it's a much broader perspective.
Welcome, Supermoms, to Mom's Talk. Our today's Supermom guest is a doctor. She's also the founder and CEO of Nutrichef Enterprises. Welcoming Dr. Mrudula Bhave.
Hello,
Lovely to have you,
everyone.
Mrudula.
Hello, everyone. It's a pleasure and honor to be here.
Mrudula Nutrichef Enterprises. The name explains a lot of things about nutrition, but we would like to hear it from you. What is this company about? What are the services that you provide?
I established Nutrichef 6 years back with the intention of catering to health, to serve health on a platter. So we all end up eating food without giving it a thought as to what are we eating, whether our meal is balanced. Especially in the morning rush hours, we end up, picking up leftovers sometimes or making a one pot meal which is not balanced. So the idea was uh, cre- to create a platform wherein we serve food which is balanced, which is nutritious, that's becoming the need of the hour. And in addition to a balanced diet, we will also cater to certain requirements, which could be diabetic patients, which could be patients who are on renal dialysis or who are looking for weight loss, and help them in their fitness journey. So that was the idea with which I started this.
That's lovely. And you rightly said it, it's very much needed in today's world. So, being a doctor, Mridula, being a doctor to an entrepreneur, how did that happen?
As it's just destined to happen. I think it's something. It's your passion and your calling, and uh, the minimum efforts that you need to take to it when it's destined to happen. So, like any other medicos, our initial years of practice are so much focused on education, on establishing yourself as a clinician. Uh, you know, um, Sitting in your clinic for long hours, just waiting for patients to come in because it takes time to establish.
Mhm.
And then you realize that you have not looked after your health, you have not got time to exercise, you've been sitting. And as ophthalmologist, we even have to operate sitting. We don't stand and operate, we sit and operate.
Mhm.
So suddenly you realize that your health is going for a toss, your sugars are going haywire. And then I started exercising. I said, no, I need to look after my own health first, if I have to look after other people's health.
Mhm.
And then I started working out, and I registered for the Oxfam 100 kilometers trail walk.
Mhm.
And during that time, I realized the importance of nutrition. So when I looked into what I'm eating, what time I'm eating, how much I'm eating, what combinations I'm eating, it made a remarkable difference in my endurance. And that's how I realized that being a medico, we were aware of nutrition per se, but application wise, we are not taught in medical school as to what combinations should be made, what should be avoided with a particular ingredient
Mhm.
because of absorptions level being different. So I really took pains and efforts to study that subject, and then I made those changes for myself. Then I tried it on my family. My mom is a diabetic. Her
Mhm.
sugars were better. My father's cholesterol came down. And then it became so much of a habit. It became a second nature to me, that if anyone would give, we generally tend to discuss food, and then most of them, you have that guilt feel the next day when you have
Uh-huh.
overeaten or you have indulged the previous day. And I would come up with solutions like, why did you not use, um, you know, makhana powder instead of cornstarch? Or why did you not steam this instead of frying? Why did you not make it in an appam patra instead of, deep frying it?
Mhm.
So the first thing that my friends would say is, who's going to make it? Who's going to cook additional meal for myself in addition to, cooking for my child, husband, parent-in-laws?
Mhm.
So then I realized that there is a potential here wherein we could look into the space of a niche segment looking for healthy nutritional food, and then that's how the idea came to my mind. And they would keep saying that whenever you make it, you send it across to me. And that send it across to me, when many people started saying that, I said I will really make it and send it across, but then I will do it professionally and commercially.
Mhm. So you have
It's
a
just that
team,
you got.
Mrudula. You have a team of professionals who give this overall
Yeah.
do the assessment.
Yes. So we have a nutritionist on board. We have chefs. We have advisory board members who are from the hotel management industry, who are from the catering industry.
Mhm.
We have advisory board members who have nutraceutical products. If at all any supplementation is required for certain population. So being in this line for now 6 years, most of the weight loss, general weight management, general fitness, I can take care of them myself. But
Mhm.
maybe dialysis patients or patients who are into cardiac failure, who are diabetics, who need, very tight monitoring of the salt, the proteins, the potassium that is going into their body. So these are the patients who are, I refer them to our nutritionist. They will chalk out their daily regimen, their daily routine, their exercise, the current sugar levels, their creatine levels, and then they will give us the diet chart, and that we hand it over to our staff, to the cooking staff, and they will make the recipes. And there the catering team comes in, wherein they will give suggestions as to, this is a routine menu, this has to be replaced with certain other ingredient for this particular patient, without compromising on the texture and the taste.
Mhm.
Because we are so tuned to having that particular taste of, say, harabara kebab, so we want it to taste like a harabara kebab.
Mhm.
Now, if I'm going to omit major ingredients and substitute it with something which may be healthy, but it is not tasting like harabara kebab, then it doesn't click. So when I started, I experimented it on my son first. Because
Mhm.
if teenagers pass it, then you are done. It's going to hit. It's going to be a super hit if teenagers have passed, because elders are pretty flexible, they are okay with taste, but
True.
teenagers are not. So if they have liked it, then yes, you are on the right path.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. And you're right. We tend to forget the importance of nutrition when we eat food, and especially with this fast-paced life that we have, and we are juggling so many things at once. That is something. Nutrition is something which is highly compromised, and it has its own effect. We won't realize it right now, but over the period of time, over the years, we do feel the lack of nutrition.
Absolutely, absolutely. Long-term effects will be seen. In fact, today's lifestyle, the incidence of diabetes, India is becoming the capital of diabetes now,
Mhm.
is all because of a lifestyle change which is happening. Uh, Either because of the need of the hour, because of, we are so gadget savvy today,
Mhm.
because of all these gadgets which were in the previous generation was a sort of a workout for us. Today we are resorting to vacuum cleaners and mixers, and that entire
Yeah.
effort of grinding and all is gone. It's not whether it's right or wrong, but then the effects
Mhm.
are same. And until and unless we make a conscious effort to nullify that effect,
Mhm.
by bringing in, nutrients, micronutrients, nutrient rich food into our diet, uh, its toll is going to be taken on our health.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Mridula, you've been doing this for 6 years now, you said. Are there some of the tips that you would like to share with our viewers?
Plenty. In fact, today, in our gym group, the discussion is on how do we increase proteins in our food. So,
Mm-hmm.
for example, yesterday we had made any dumpling, or in the Indian cuisine we have the mutiyas. So they are we can shift them. Instead of wheat or jowar, you add a millet to that, like a jowar mutiya. You could add paneer, or even in a normal rotis that we make, we could add soya atta, the
Mm-hmm.
soya flour to it, to make it more rich in protein. A simple thing is, like, especially working women in the morning, there's no time to knead fresh atta. So I tell them, you need the atta in yesterday's leftover dal. So that's a
Mm-hmm.
source of protein. Instead of wasting that dal, you just knead your atta in yesterday's leftover dal. So your the dough is going to get more protein rich. When we make cottage cheese at home, when you take the milk and you curdle it, we generally use the cottage cheese or the paneer by
Mm-hmm.
sieving, and the whey is a nutrient rich protein, the water. So we
Mm-hmm.
could use that water in your soups. We could use it in to, as I said, to knead the dough. So there
Mm-hmm.
are multiple places where you can use that instead of throwing it. Then steaming is a much more healthier way of cooking rather than boiling. So whenever you are using your beet, or for that matter carrot, or any vegetables which you need to cook it before you use it in your salads, it is always preferred that you steam it rather than boiling it, because boiling is going to decrease its nutritional value, whereas
Mm-hmm.
steaming is going to preserve the nutrients in it.
It stays intact.
It
The
stays.
nutrients stays intact.
The nutrients stay intact in it.
Absolutely lovely, lovely, Mridula. ये तो सारी बातें हुई आपकी प्रोफेशनल लाइफ की, मृदुला. How about your personal life? How were your childhood years? क्या आपने ये सोचा था कि आप डॉक्टर बनेंगी, or you will be an entrepreneur? How were you like a child?
I was a plump child. I never thought I would, be so fanatic about fitness and nutrition. Maybe it is the childhood years that, when you have been an pleasantly plump, or rather, I would say, obese, a slightly obese child, then you have always dreamt of being fit, and you're looking up to people who are, lean. But then the equation of fitness has now changed in my mind. So, for that
Mm-hmm.
matter, that should be the goal. Today, I no longer focus on weight, the focus is on health. So, the
Mm-hmm.
moment we shift our focus from weight to health, it's a much broader perspective. So,
Mm-hmm.
that will include your sleep, that will include all the nutrients, that will include um, balanced diet, that will include the right time of eating, that will include a decent portion size to prevent cravings, and the entire effort that you have taken since morning, that will not go haywire. Because what
Mm-hmm.
happens is, the moment you focus on weight, you cut down on your carbs, you cut down on the portion, you
Mm-hmm.
end up feeling hungry later, and then you indulge, then you feel guilty about it, and it doesn't serve any purpose.
Mm-hmm.
So important thing is to shift your focus from weight to health, and this is what we've been following. So a lot of clients who come to me saying, how many days it will take for me to lose weight?" So I tell them, if your focus is on losing weight, this is not for you, because this may take 3 years, it may take longer. The point is that we want to regain your health. Let's start by checking out your hemoglobin levels. Let's start by seeing, do you have a hair fall? Let's start by seeing whether you are constipated. How is your motion the next day morning? So these are your parameters which are going to tell you that yes, you are coming on track. How is your
Mm-hmm.
sleep? Are you sleeping better? How is your skin? Is it peeling? Is it chapping? So that'll tell you whether your fat content is adequate in your body, whether are you having joint pains when you go for a run. So these are the things that we will focus on to begin with. Weight will come to its level at some time or the other.
Mrudula, you are still practicing your medicine, and you're also the founder, the CEO of this company. How do you balance your life, with your family, your work? Because being a doctor needs a lot of your time and yourself, and having your own company is also one of the things which needs a lot of your time. How are you able to manage both along with taking care of the family?
So,
How do you do that?
Avni, thankfully, I'm an ophthalmologist. Had I been a gynecologist or maybe an anesthetist or a cardiac surgeon, it would have been a different ball game. I don't think I could have ever thought of starting, my own company and moving away from a medical profession because it would really be taxing. Luckily for me, ophthalmology is a branch which does not have any major emergencies.
Mhm.
We work in fixed time. We schedule our surgeries. Cataract is not an emergency, so we can, actually post patients for surgery as per mutually convenient times. A lot of my time management happens because of planning. So the meals are planned. The recipes are now in our recipe books. The quantities for scales of 20s are written in the book. The ingredients for that recipe have already been noted down. And all this is in black and white. So once the menu is given, it does not take too much time, now what is to be brought, what instructions are to be given to the staff. So this is now become quite in an auto mode, I would say, that once the recipes and the menu is given. But yes, seasonal planning has to be done. Like now, onset of winter, so there are certain vegetables which we would include only in winter. There are certain seeds like flax seeds or sesame which we will increase in our diet now with the onset
Mhm.
of winter. So certain changes have to be done. So planning and being organized in your thoughts, I think, is something very important, which I very religiously do it, because it's your monthly planning, your weekly
Mhm.
planning, and your daily planning. So your monthly plannings is your gross season wise planning, wherein you plan to have these items in your menu. Then in your monthly planning is something which you have not repeated in the last few months, so that your meal rotation happens, your nutrient rotation happens. And then your daily planning depends on what is your count today, how many diabetics, how many renal patients, how many weight loss. So all these instructions are to be given to the staff. So all this I manage most of the time when I'm traveling. So I have a driver. So thankfully, the transit time is the one which I utilize for sending out my orders, the indents, the inventory
Mhm.
check, and all that is now done during my travel time. And the mornings till 3:30, uh, I am an ophthalmologist, and evening times is my business time. So that's how I divide. And by 7:30, I'm home so that I have adequate time to spend with my family.
That's lovely. It's so good to know how you are able to do all these things in a given time. And planning, as you said, is one of the key factors here. If you have
I
that,
think it's the
you're sorted in your
intent.
mind.
It's
Uh-huh.
it's the
Uh-huh.
intent which matters. Your
Mm-hmm.
passion, your attitude that matters.
Mm-hmm.
If you've decided that you want to do it, then you'll find time. It's I tell many people ask me how do you manage. So I always tell them, like, do what you love and love what you do. So you will find time for whatever you want to do if you like it. If you put your heart and soul into it, then you will find time for that.
That's so true. That's so true, Mrudula. what would be your message, Mrudula, for all the mothers?
Um, don't let any opportunity go away. It may be right in front of you, but you may prioritize other things and not give it a thought. It doesn't matter whether uh, whether you continue later or you don't continue later, but give it your shot. Try it out. It could work, it could not work. If it doesn't work, it is okay. It is absolutely okay. Take it in that spirit. But later, you should not have any regrets that, oh, I had an opportunity, but I prioritize other things over it, and I have lost the time now because that opportunity is not going to come back again.
Mm-hmm.
So wherever you have an opportunity, look into it. Look into those spaces where you feel that these are the things that can work. Food is something, industry is something which there is no recession in this industry. So
True.
it's as
It's
long as you
evergreen.
manage, it's going to be there. AI is another one. So all these environmental issues which are cropping up. So all the go green. In fact, Nutrichef Enterprises is it's going to include a lot of other things. CalPal is my brand, which is looking after the only the food, calorie and pal. CalPal is the brand in
Mm-hmm.
which the
Mm-hmm.
food part is taken care of. But since I'm into, I also work for an organization which works for the environment. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to compost our own kitchen waste. I started doing that in small scale at my house
Mm-hmm.
and gradually, mm, trying to implement the same thing from my kitchen waste. And so at a small level, I have started growing my own organic vegetables and fruits.
Mm-hmm.
And I hope that I can, implement it on a larger scale. So Nutrition Enterprises will have many other segments under it. Organic gardening is something which I'm really looking forward to.
All the very best for all your future projects that you'll be taking over, Mridula. What you're doing for people, giving them a good health, which I think is the biggest asset that a person can have. So thank you so much for doing that, Mridula. Thank you so
Thank you so
much
much,
for giving us
Avani.
your time.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure speaking to you. And to all the moms out there, a big thank you.